요즘 청계천을 두고 중국인들 때문에 커뮤니티가 들썩이고 있습니다. 행운을 빌며 던진 소원 동전을 몰래 쓸어 담아가는 사람들이 나타났고, 누군가는 물속에 들어가 목욕을 하고 술과 담배까지 즐기다 갑니다. 댓글창에는 분통을 터뜨리는 목소리가 쏟아지고 있습니다. 에휴, 저것들은 하나같이 저 모양이냐는 한탄, 청계천의 관리자를 배치하라는 요구, 경찰이 방관만 하고 있어 화가 난다는 성토, 입수금지 벌금을 더 높여야 한다는 목소리까지 나오고 있습니다. 그런데 바로 그 청계천을 두고 전혀 다른 반응을 보인 외국인들이 있었습니다. 또 어떤 나라 방송에서는 도시의 기적으로 보였던 것이죠.
In the 1950s and 60s, the city of Seoul built an elevated highway through the middle of the city. We know in retrospect that highways don't belong in city centers, but at the time, Seoul was rapidly modernizing and cars were the future. Plus, the Korean government was being advised, financed, and heavily influenced by Americans at the time, and you know they wouldn't suggest building anything other than car infrastructure. Over the next few decades, Seoul experienced extremely rapid growth, but downtown was struggling. There was serious traffic congestion on and around the highway, making the area polluted and unpleasant, and the population downtown dropped in half during the 1990s. The number of businesses decreased by over 20%, and the number of people working downtown also dropped in half. Because, as it turns out, the majority of people don't enjoy living, working, or shopping next to a car sewer. The freeway itself was also crumbling and had become unsafe, so a decision had to be made. Rebuild it or tear it down, and they made the correct decision to tear it down. But they didn't just remove the highway, they turned it into a river, and I'll get to that in a bit. I first heard about this project in the context of induced demand. This is the well-studied effect where building more highways and roads encourages more people to drive, which makes traffic worse. And I made a previous video about that if you'd like to learn more. The opposite of induced demand is known as traffic evaporation, the counterintuitive effect where removing roads or highways can actually make traffic better, not worse, and that is exactly what happened in Seoul. Before the highway was removed, the media, special interest groups, and even the traffic simulations made by the engineers claimed that there was going to be a traffic disaster. But when the Cheonggyechong Expressway was removed, none of that happened. Within 3 years, motor vehicle traffic decreased by 45%. Metro ridership was up 3%, and bus ridership up 15%, and there was no increase in travel time for drivers. Even though this data really just validated decades of urban planning research, it's still an incredible result, so I can see why this example is so often used by advocates, urban planners, and transportation engineers. But after visiting Cheonggyechong myself, I actually think all that traffic stuff is literally the least interesting aspect of this project, and I believe that building this beautiful addition to the city would have been completely justified even if it made car traffic significantly worse. Plus, I morally object to municipal projects constantly being framed through the lens of how much it might inconvenience drivers. To me, that is the least important metric to consider when designing great urban places. Because they didn't just remove this highway, they made it into a beautiful linear park that has become a major attraction. The river has brought back life to downtown. Significantly more people are walking here now. There's been a massive drop in air pollution and noise pollution. Nitrogen dioxide levels dropped 35% and average summer temperatures dropped 3.5 degrees compared to neighboring streets. Business activity increased for the first time in years, and it spurred new residential and commercial developments. Wildlife diversity and populations increased significantly, and it has become one of the top tourist destinations in the city. The Cheonggyechong Regeneration Project was so successful that Seoul has closed many more elevated highways, including this one that I also visited while I was there. So let me share my experiences visiting these great highway removal projects so you can see what's possible when a city removes cars to make places better for people. Was an elevated expressway, it used to be a river, so in a sense this river project is returning the area back to what it was before. The river had been an important place for centuries, but after decades of Japanese occupation and the Korean War, it was not doing well. By the 1950s, the river was heavily polluted and prone to flooding, and many informal settlements and shacks had been built along it. Seoul was rapidly urbanizing to accommodate a growing population, and even though very few people owned cars at the time, they wanted to build for the future and project an image of progress, and cars were the future. So replacing the polluted river with a modern elevated expressway probably seemed like a pretty good idea at the time. And it is wild how fast this place modernized. This is a picture of Cheonggi-cheong in the early 1960s. And this is a picture from the late 1970s. That's crazy. But today it looks like this, and technically it is not a river. It's usually translated from Korean to English as a stream, and if you want to get pedantic, it's a tributary that flows into the Han River. But whatever you call it, it's a hell of a lot nicer than an elevated expressway. To get to Cheonggi-cheong River, stream, I took the metro to Gwanhwamun Square, part of which was also recently pedestrianized. This part here used to be a busy road, but they closed it and made it a car-free plaza. It's much nicer with all the trees and a direct connection to what used to be an island stranded in the middle of the road. You can see in this stock footage what it looked like before, with the statues sandwiched between 10 lanes of car traffic. It's crazy to me how many cities have these big open areas with parks or culturally significant landmarks, and then they make them so unpleasant to be there because they're in the middle of the f***ing road. Closing one side of a boulevard like this is the first step to repairing these kinds of places, and more cities should be doing this. I still think the remaining road is way too big, but going from 10 lanes to 6 lanes is at least a step in the right direction. Fortunately, it was only a short walk along this unpleasant road to get to the start of the stream, and after crossing the street, we get to this small open area, and this interesting spiral art piece. The river starts at this fountain and waterfall. Apparently, there's only natural water here during the rainy season, and at other times it's pumped in. After walking down the stairs, the first thing I see is dozens of people sitting and reading. This is one of Seoul's outdoor libraries where people can borrow books to read outside. This is so cool. You're not going to do this next to a freeway. I also noticed these rocks that people use to cross to the other side of the stream. These have been installed in many places all along the stream, which is fun. Though in other places there are proper bridges in case you're not able or not willing to cross on the rocks. What amazed me is just how much effort they put into making every part of this stream interesting. There's so much variety as you walk along it, and it's clear that a lot of thought and care was put into its design. The start of the stream is made of stone and is very artificial feeling, but as I walked farther along there were trees and rocks and grass. By the end of it, it looked so natural you'd think the stream had always been there. In some places there's only the sound of the wind and flowing water, and you could almost forget you're in the middle of the city. There are several places along the stream where benches or seats have been installed. This one is next to a speaker playing soft piano music, which is weird, but I appreciate it. There are historic elements too, like this stone bridge that is over 600 years old. It was renovated and placed over the stream, though apparently 150 meters from its original location. Since the expressway was removed, there's been a huge increase in birds and fish. This was the biggest fish I found. I saw so many people out enjoying a walk along the stream or going for a run or just sitting and generally enjoying the fact that this isn't a car sewer anymore. Cycling is not allowed here, so I didn't see anyone on a bike, though as part of the project, bike lanes were installed on either side at road level. Walking along the stream felt very safe, and there were always lots of people around, and I saw security cameras along the walls as well. I also noticed these emergency ladders every so often along the stream, and I think they want you to know that when it rains heavily, the path will be closed. This is because the stream has some fairly sophisticated water management infrastructure built into it, designed to handle 200-year flood events. The walls have floodgates on the side that can be opened during very heavy rainfall, so that water from the surrounding streets can be drained here to avoid flooding the rest of the city. It only rained once during my trip to Seoul, and I visited the stream during that time. The stairs were closed and the flow of water was faster, but it wasn't anywhere close to overflowing. If I had to be critical of this project, the biggest thing I would complain about is accessibility. Because it's sunken down below street level, it feels disconnected from the rest of the neighborhood, which also means that the benefits of the stream don't overflow into the surrounding areas. Most of the access is by stairs, usually wherever a road crosses the stream. There are a few places that are accessible by wheelchair via extremely long ramps, but there are sometimes long distances between them. And every time you enter it from a metro station, you have to go up to ground level, cross the street, and then walk down into the river. It would be so great if there were some elevators or exits directly from the metro at the level of the stream, but I suspect these would be impossible to build while still allowing the stream to be flooded in the case of a major rainstorm. I think what surprised me the most, though, was just how nice this all was. I had heard about this project for years and I had seen photos of it, but it was still way nicer than I expected it to be. I was enjoying myself so much that I totally lost track of time and only managed to walk along about half of the 6-kilometer stream before it started to get dark. So I never got to see the spot where they left a few of the elevated highway pillars up as a reminder of what used to be here. I can understand now why this was such an expensive project. It cost 386 billion won to build, which was about 250 million euros at the time, which is not cheap. And before and during its construction, the project definitely had its detractors, but today, you'd be hard-pressed to find anybody in Seoul who would rather have this place turned back into a highway. And that's the thing, right? Whenever a great urban project is proposed, there are so many people who aggressively fight it. But once it's built, people love it and can't possibly imagine going back, because urban places are fundamentally better when they're designed for people instead of cars. I've seen this in cities all over the world, which is why I've started to call it the universal law of cities, which states the more car-friendly a place is, the shittier it is to be there. If we always designed urban places with this law in mind, our cities would be so much better. Thankfully, the success of this project made it significantly easier to get public support for other great projects to reclaim space from cars in Seoul. I visited another elevated highway that was closed, but this time they didn't tear it down. Instead, they made it a pedestrian walkway. This is Solo 7017. That's 70 from 1970, the year the highway was built, and 17 from 2017, the year it was converted to a walkway. This overpass is located right at Seoul Station, the central train station for commuter trains, high-speed trains, and connections to the metro and local buses. For years, the station has been cut off from some of the neighborhoods nearby because of the highway and the busy roads around it. So Solo 7017 was constructed to connect both sides of the station area. And these neighborhoods in the east have been improving significantly over the past few years, with more and more streets getting restrictions for car traffic or pedestrianized completely. There was definitely value in connecting these neighborhoods to the train station and the neighborhoods to the west. The east side of the pass starts here at ground level. You can clearly see how this would have been the entrance to an overpass for cars. And it's kind of fun to walk up this enormous ramp to get onto the walkway. At each end, there's a map that shows the layout of the walkway and the surrounding area. On this side, there are several buildings that are connected directly to the walkway, including the hotel I was staying at for the night, which was nice. The entire overpass is covered with plants and trees, and they're all individually labeled, which makes it almost like a tree museum, though this one is just some garden of green leaves. This is really interesting because the plants and trees change as you go along, meaning each section feels different. It's amazing how this part looks so much different from this part just because of the trees. There was a lot of thought put into all this. And these trees also provide some much needed shade in parts, which is great. Along the overpass, there are some surprisingly nice rest stops. They're air conditioned inside and they have seating and big windows. And each one has stairs that you can take to a lookout on the top. This one was covered in vines. It was genuinely nice up here. This one is a cafe where you can get tea and coffee and then drink them inside or on the roof. And if you're not interested in paying for drinks, there are water fountains too. Just outside of the cafe, there's this communal pool for soaking your feet, which is a Korean thing I just can't get into, but it's great that they have it. There are a few other random things they've installed, like this trampoline area for kids and a public piano. There are also these round glass windows that are supposed to let you see the traffic below, including this really big one, but I couldn't see anything through them. These were probably a better idea in theory than in practice. There are also 3 of these big cylinders called peeping pots, and if you look inside, there are videos playing, which my camera could never properly focus on, but you get the idea. These are definitely weird, so I like them. There are a lot of security cameras along this overpass on posts like this one, way more than I saw walking along Chongyicheong Stream. There are also emergency call buttons and a first aid booth. And there were a couple of security guards walking back and forth too. Thankfully, they didn't have a problem with an old white guy filming way too much. But then I wasn't the only white guy with a professional camera, so they probably see it a lot. While this project is nowhere near as comprehensive as Chongyicheong Stream, there was still a lot of thought put into it, and it's so much more than just a way to walk to the other side of the train station. On the sides of the overpass are these glass walls that do a surprisingly good job of dampening the noise of the traffic below. I just found this one segment with a gap in the glass wall. It's like they wanted people to look down and see the road below, as if to say, "Here's the shitty road, you don't have to cross on foot. You're welcome." And this really is a terrible road. I would hate to have to cross this monstrosity at ground level. Near the train station is this area called Docking Seoul, the area around an old spiral car ramp that is now for art exhibits. At the top is this grassy square, which was great on a nice day like this. And there's easy access to this parking garage if that's your thing. On the west end, there are multiple paths to take. Off-ramps, if you will. Some of these lead to elevators and stairs to go down, while this one slowly descends to ground level. The streets next to the overpass were full of people and the shops and restaurants were busy. Cars have been tamed here, so it's much less disruptive than many other streets in Seoul. And once again, the businesses in these shops are doing much better since the highway was decommissioned, because it's enjoyable to be here now. The universal law of cities, right? People like being in places without a lot of cars, and since it's the people who buy things, businesses do better when there are fewer cars. Fundamentally, urban highways need to be removed. They don't belong in the middle of cities. They funnel huge amounts of traffic into busy downtown areas, they divide neighborhoods and destroy livability, they pollute the local environment and make cities less economically productive, and they don't even fix traffic congestion. Seoul is demonstrating what needs to happen with these outdated 20th century infrastructure mistakes by building projects like this. The only real complaint I have about Solo 7017 is that it's not well connected to public transit. For example, this horrific road has a BRT station in the middle of it, very close to the overpass. But there's no direct connection from here. So you have to go down this escalator and then cross a very busy road to get to the BRT. So it would be nice if there was a direct connection from the walkway. And while the overpass is quite close to Seoul Station, it's also not connected. You can get to the station this way, though you need to pass through the parking garage and the Lotte hypermarket. I opted for using these stairs, which brings you down to this area near exit 2 of the metro, and a short walk to the train station. But beyond those minor gripes, I was impressed once again by how much thought and time was put into this project. They didn't need to make it this nice. They could have just made it a utilitarian walkway that made it a little easier to cross over the road to the train station. And Chongyicheong didn't need to be this elaborate stream. They could have just built a concrete canal and it would have achieved the same goal of flood prevention infrastructure. But then they could film sick Hollywood car chase scenes in it. Instead, it's just become a regular filming location for almost every K-drama, and where's the fun in that? And I think that's what's impressed me the most about these projects. Seoul didn't just remove their urban freeways, which itself is something most politicians in other cities can't find the courage to do. They went even further by building genuinely great urban places that are destinations unto themselves, providing so much value to the city and making it a better place to live. Seoul still has a lot of work ahead to undo decades of rapid car-centric development. There are far too many extremely wide roads, and many urban places still allow too many cars. But I also saw a lot of great urban places too, and several parts of the city were much nicer than the last time I visited Seoul. They've also gone from not having any metro at all in 1970 to having one of the largest metro systems in the world today. So in Seoul, rapid change is possible. It's time for other car-centric cities to catch up.
고가도로를 걷어낸 서울에 감탄한 건 이도시 계획 전문가만이 아니었습니다. 같은 시각 서울의 마지막 하루를 보내던 또 한 명의 외국인이 있었습니다. 바다 건너 영국에서 온 여행자였죠. 그렇다면 그의 눈에 비친 서울은 어떤 모습이었을까요?
It is my final morning here in Seoul, and today I'm going to be exploring and having a look around Sunimmun Gate, Gyeongbokgung Palace, and also going to head to the Bukchon Hanok village. So let's get on our way and take a walk down to the first stop. Just walking down to Sunimmun Gate now. I'm going to miss this place. I've absolutely loved my time here in Seoul and South Korea. On the whole, it's just been, brilliant. I can actually see the gate right in front of me as well. Quite impressive. So this gateway that I'm walking through right now, southern entrance to the city of Seoul back hundreds and hundreds of years ago. So it's pretty cool. Parts of it were destroyed in the Korean War as well, so they had to do a little bit of restoration post 1953. But yeah, today it is looking fabulous. And the pavilion you can see on top, the two-tiered pavilion, that is actually it is the oldest structure across the old city wall. Oh dear, you're not going to believe this. I can't believe this. The palace, which was next on my place to go, closed on Tuesdays. Of course it's closed on Tuesdays. Why would it be open on a Tuesday? I'm still going to go up there and just see what I can see, but I won't be going inside the grounds, unfortunately. So I'm going to do a little detour, go to a few other places on the way, and see what I can find. Searching in Seoul. Yes, I think it's needed after the shock of learning the palace is closed. Right, so next we are going to the Korea Bank Museum. No idea what's going to be in here, but the building looks beautiful. So let's go in and have a little look round. Oh, surprise, surprise. It is another free attraction, which means that I've still not paid a penny to go in any museum or exhibition since I've been in Korea, which is, incredible, because I've been to some really cool places as well. Right, let's have a little look around here, shall we? Well, that was actually quite interesting. For someone who started collecting notes, that was it was really cool to read about the kind of the history of Korean money and money from around the world. Lovely. Now I'm gonna head towards Gyeongbokgung Palace, which I know is closed, but I'm going that way anyway. So I'm gonna walk down there, see what I can see from the closed palace, and then heading over to Bukchon Hanok village, which I can't wait to go there because I've been wanting to go there since I arrived, and it's now day 8 and I'm finally getting to go there. You know, one thing that has amazed me since I've been in South Korea, the lack of bins on the streets, but then there's no rubbish either. It's like, if this was in like Europe, well, anywhere else really, there would be litter everywhere because people just litter and drop crap all over the place. Hallelujah. But here, it's pristine everywhere. Like, again, it's just the respect that they have for where they live. Just a little note really. Up the Koreans. I can see the palace in the distance now, and yeah, I can see why it's the most famous one in Seoul. It looks massive, but can't go in, so it's kind of an excuse for another trip back to South Korea, just to visit here, I think. And then also fancy Jeju Island as well. That looks incredible, but that would be summertime, not when it's -4, -5 in winter. Well, whilst we're walking by, just have a look at the story of King Sejong. So I think I've come in the exit way, but this is directly underneath the huge statue that I just showed. Pretty cool. Wow, this place is massive. Like an underground layer. I'd love to know what all of this means. Is it any wonder I struggle to pronounce these Korean words? Very technical. Well, as nice as it was in there, it was like a bloody sauna, so I had to get out. Quick little, well, free attraction again, so it doesn't matter if you're in there for 5 minutes or an hour. So yeah, back on my walk now, heading straight towards the palace. Well, this is the first bit of weather I've had since I've been here. Not seen a cloud in the sky until today. Well, the internet doesn't lie, ladies and gentlemen. The gates are well and truly closed on a Tuesday. Do not make the same mistake as me. That's going to be the title of this video. An easy one for me, for the village. Last stop of my tour of South Korea. I thought it would be a lot busier here. Or have I just come up a little side street that no one knows about? It's lovely and quiet. So I'm assuming you have to be quiet because of the residents that are here. So I won't be speaking. Well, it's not a huge area, but it's definitely worth visiting. It's very, very cute here. Beautiful, old kind of style to it. Yeah, it's gorgeous. Well, as I was heading back towards the hotel to pick my stuff up, I've just stumbled across somewhere that I didn't know what the name of it was. And you see it all over kind of like videos of Seoul, and it's this place here. I will drop a location when I know what it's called, but for now I've got to do the classic and walk over these stones. I did it! It's really cute here. You've got a little seating area for people just to come and relax by the stream. They have the Statue of Liberty and Big Ben over there. Actually telling the right times, 3:15. Would you look at that? Well, that is it from South Korea. Yeah, absolutely loved it. 감사합니다, Korea. Thank you for having me. It's been, yeah, incredible. and I probably will return. So until next time guys, cheers!
낯선 땅에서 마주한 뜻밖의 감동입니다. 고가도로를 걷어낸 자리에 흐르는 물길과 쓰레기통 없이도 깨끗한 거리와 600년 세월을 품은 오래된 골목이 누군가에게는 평생 잊지 못할 도시가 됐습니다. 우리가 매일 무심코 지나치던 청계천이 누군가에게는 도시의 기적으로, 또 누군가에게는 반드시 지켜야 할 소중한 유산으로 남는다는 사실이 오늘따라 더 뭉클하게 다가옵니다. 영상 보시면서 우리 한국이 새삼 자랑스럽게 느껴지지 않으셨나요? 오늘 영상이 좋으셨다면 구독과 좋아요 부탁드립니다.